Every state has a place that shouldn't exist, a glitch in the geography. In Connecticut, that place is Dudleytown. If you Google it, you'll find the same old stories, the village of the damned, the curse of the Dudley family that chased them from England to the New World in 1747, the mysterious deaths, the madness, the mass vanishings. By the early 1900s, the town was dead. The forest, known ominously as the Dark Entry Forest, swallowed the houses whole. Today, it is possibly the most fiercely guarded private property in New England. The Dark Entry Forest Association doesn't mess around. If they catch you, you get arrested. Heavy fines, court dates. They say it's to protect the habitat, to protect the hikers from falling into old cellars. But the locals in Cornwall Bridge know better. They keep people out because whatever drove the Dudleys mad is still in there, and it's hungry. My name is Alex. I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm an urban explorer and a documentarian. I specialize in liminal spaces, places that feel like transitions between two worlds. Dudleytown was the holy grail of liminality. I planned the trip for weeks. I studied the patrol maps. I knew where the trail cameras were. I knew the shift changes of the private security. I decided to go in on a Tuesday afternoon in July when the humidity was high and the patrols would be lazy. I parked my car 3 miles down the road, hidden behind an overgrown embankment. I grabbed my pack, Sony A7 camera, shotgun mic, 2 GoPros, water, and a first aid kit. The hike up the Dark Entry Road trail starts innocently enough. It's just a trail in the woods. Birds chirping, squirrels rustling in the leaves, the distant hum of traffic on Route 7. But as you climb higher, the geography changes. The valley narrows. The trees, mostly hemlocks and oaks, grow unnaturally tall and dense. They form a canopy so thick that at 2 p.m. it looks like twilight on the forest floor. I reached the boundary line. There was no fence, just a series of menacing signs nailed to the trees. No trespassing, police take notice, private property. I stepped across the line. The change was instantaneous. It wasn't gradual, it was like stepping through a doorway. The sound cut out. 1 second, the woods were alive. The next, vacuum. The birds stopped. The wind died. Even the sound of my own boots crunching on the dry leaves seemed muffled, like I was walking on cotton. I stopped and checked my audio recorder. The levels were dead flat. I tapped the microphone. Thump, thump. It registered, but the ambient noise floor was 0. Okay, I whispered to the camera. We are in. The silent zone myth appears to be true. It feels pressurized, like being in an airplane cabin. I walked deeper into the ruins. The trail was overgrown, barely visible. The forest felt hostile, not in an aggressive way, but in a watching way. The trees felt like they were leaning in, listening. After 20 minutes, I found the first cellar hole. It was a pit in the ground, lined with field stones, filled with black rot and ferns. This used to be someone's home. A family lived here, cooked here, slept here. Now it was just a scar in the earth. I set up my tripod to get some B-roll. As I was adjusting the focus, I saw something in the viewfinder. Movement. Deep in the woods, about 50 yards back. I pulled my eye away from the lens. Nothing. Just gray trunks. I looked back through the lens. There it was again. A figure, gray on gray, standing perfectly still behind a massive oak. "Hello?" I called out. My voice died instantly in the heavy air. "Is anyone there? I'm leaving, don't worry." The figure didn't move. It looked like a man wearing a long, tattered coat, but the proportions were wrong. His arms were too long. His head was tilted at an unnatural angle, like his neck was broken. I zoomed in with the lens. The figure's face was blurry, but I could see the eyes, wide, white, staring directly at me. And then he smiled. It wasn't a human smile. His mouth opened too wide, stretching the skin until it looked like it would tear. A wave of primal fear washed over me, the kind of fear that makes your legs lock up. "Okay," I grabbed the camera. "Okay, we're done here." I turned to pack up. When I looked back at the woods, the figure was gone, but the silence had changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with a low, vibrating hum. It sounded like voices, hundreds of them, whispering just below the threshold of hearing. "Turn back. Stay. Join us. Alex." They knew my name. I abandoned the tripod. I just grabbed the camera and walked fast. I didn't run. Not yet. Running triggers a predator response. Everyone knows that. But the forest was changing. I had hiked up a hill to get here. Logic dictated I should hike down to get out. But the path kept going up. Every time I turned a corner expecting to see the descent, I saw another incline, another wall of dark trees. "Compass," I muttered, fumbling with my watch. The digital compass was spinning in circles. Error, magnetic interference. Great, just great. I tried to use the sun to navigate, but the canopy was too thick. The light was a diffused gray gloom. I couldn't tell west from east. Then the hallucinations started. At least, I prayed they were hallucinations. I saw a woman standing by a rock. She was wearing a colonial-style dress, stained with mud. She was weeping. I stopped. "Miss?" She looked up. Her face was gone. Just a smooth patch of skin where her features should be. I blinked, and she was a tree stump, just a rotten stump covered in fungus. Pareidolia, I told myself, my heart hammering against my ribs. It's just your brain making patterns. Calm down. I kept walking. The whispering got louder. It wasn't coming from the woods anymore. It was coming from my equipment. My headphones were around my neck. I could hear sound leaking from them. I put them on. The audio recorder was picking up a conversation. Two voices, arguing. "He shouldn't be here. Let him stay. He can take the place of the other. Break his legs first." I ripped the headphones off and threw them into the brush. "Stop it! Show yourselves!" I spun around in a circle, camera raised like a weapon. There was no one, just the endless, oppressive forest. But the trees, they had moved. I swear to God, the path behind me was narrower than it was a minute ago. The trees were crowding the trail, closing ranks like prison bars. I started to run. I ran blindly, crashing through fern breaks and stumbling over hidden roots. I ran until I burst into a small clearing, and I stopped dead. In the center of the stone clearing was a cellar hole, but it wasn't empty. Sitting on the edge of the stone wall was a man. He was wearing modern clothes, jeans, a flannel shirt, a backpack. He had his back to me. He was looking down into the hole. "Hey," I gasped, relieved to see another human. "Hey, buddy, I'm lost. Can you help me find the road?" The man didn't turn around. He just kept staring into the hole. "Hey," I walked closer. The man slowly turned his head. It was me. It was wearing my clothes, my backpack. It had my face. But the eyes were gone. Just black, empty sockets leaking a thick, dark fluid. The doppelganger opened its mouth and spoke in my voice. "You never left, Alex. You've been here since 1747. Then the thing stood up and screamed. It was a sound that shouldn't be possible. It sounded like twisting metal and breaking glass. It lunged at me. I scrambled back, tripping over my own feet, and fell hard. My head cracked against a rock. Darkness swam in my vision. The last thing I saw before I passed out was the gray figure from earlier, the one with the long arms, standing over me, looking down with pity. I woke up. It was dark. Night had fallen. I was lying in the leaves. My head throbbed with a dull, sickening rhythm. I touched my forehead. Sticky blood. I sat up, panic rising in my throat. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. The absolute, crushing silence of Dudleytown at night. I felt for my camera. It was gone. My backpack was gone. I was alone in the dark entry forest in the pitch black, with no light, no phone, no weapon. Okay, don't panic, just pick a direction. I stood up. My legs felt like jelly. I started walking. I kept my hands out in front of me to avoid hitting trees. Then, I saw a light, a faint orange glow in the distance. A fire? A flashlight? Hope surged through me. Help! Over here! I ran toward the light. As I got closer, I saw it wasn't a flashlight. It was a lantern, an old-fashioned oil-burning lantern hanging from a tree branch, and beneath it stood the villagers. Dozens of them. They formed a circle around the tree. Men, women, children, all wearing the gray, tattered clothes of a bygone era. They stood perfectly still, their backs to me. I stopped. "Please," I whispered. "I just want to go home." One of them turned. It was the woman with the smooth face. She pointed a finger at the ground. I looked down. I was standing on the edge of a cellar hole. Inside the hole, looking up at me, was me. Not a doppelganger, not a monster. It was my body, broken, twisted, lying at the bottom of the pit among the dead leaves. My camera lay next to my shattered hand. My eyes were open, staring sightlessly at the sky. My brain couldn't process it. "No," I whispered, "that's not real. I'm standing here. I'm breathing." I touched my chest. My hand passed through my jacket. I looked at my hands. They were translucent, pale mist in the lantern light. The realization hit me like a physical blow. I didn't pass out when I hit my head on the rock. I died. I died hours ago. The villagers turned toward me. They didn't look scary anymore. They looked sad. They looked tired. The man with the broken neck stepped forward. "Welcome to the village, Alex," he whispered. His voice was the sound of wind in dead leaves. "We have been waiting for a new neighbor." "No!" I screamed. "I'm not dead. I'm not one of you." I turned and ran. I ran through the trees, passing through branches like they were smoke. I ran toward where the road should be. I saw the headlights of a car passing on Route 7. "Help!" I shouted. "Stop!" I burst out of the woods onto the road. The car was coming right at me. I waved my arms. "Stop, please!" The car didn't slow down. It drove right through me. I felt a momentary chill, a shiver of static, and then the taillights disappeared into the night. I stood alone on the dark entry road. The silence was gone. I could hear the crickets now. I could hear the wind. But I couldn't feel the cold. I couldn't feel my heart beating. I tried to leave the property line. I walked toward my car, parked down the road. But as soon as I crossed the boundary of the forest, an invisible tether yanked me back. A force stronger than gravity pulled me back into the shadows of the trees. I was part of the property now, part of the Dark Entry Forest Association. Video footage found. Recovered SD card. The following footage was recovered from a Sony A7 camera found by a hiker near the ruins of the Sarah Fay house in October 2023. The video shows a man identified as Alex V setting up a tripod. He speaks to the camera about the silence. Suddenly, he freezes. He stares into the woods. He begins to speak to someone who isn't there. "Why do you look like me?" he asks. He starts to back away. He trips. The camera falls, landing lens down in the dirt. The audio continues for 3 hours. It records heavy breathing. Then a sickening crack, the sound of a skull hitting stone. Silence follows for 2 hours. Then footsteps approach the camera. The camera is picked up. The lens is dirty. The image blurry. It is pointed at Alex's body lying in the cellar hole. Then the camera is turned around. The face in the frame is Alex's face, but the eyes are wide, white, and terrified. The figure holding the camera whispers one word: "Join."